Ay, ay, ay. These two guys, Bernstein and Woodward, Woodward and Bernstein, two most famous reporters in the world for a long time, maybe even still. They broke Watergate. Totally fake news, by the way. So many myths about Watergate. And these two guys, the Washington Post reporters, but they were lucky, right place, right time, some skilled marketing, and they became international celebrities. 3 years after Bob Woodward joins the paper, Robert Redford is playing him in the movie, and Dustin Hoffman is playing the other guy. It's kind of crazy, right? They have been dining out on Watergate for a long, long time. And for Bob Woodward, the hits keep on rolling. His newest book is called War, and he's done very well with these books. I don't believe a word of them, to be honest. I've caught this guy in some major deceptive writing. Can't say lie because then, oh boy, but there's lying, especially about Deep Throat. Big time. This is an excerpt from the book that is supposed to scandalize us. Trump had secretly sent Putin a bunch of Abbott point-of-care COVID test machines for his personal use. This is the big scoop from the book. That and that Biden uses curse words a lot. And everybody is trying to make this into a scandal.
Turn out of that new reporting from journalist Bob Woodward, his new book called War, the veteran reporter writing that during the early days of the pandemic, while it was raging here in the U.S., that then President Trump secretly sent a number of those rare COVID test machines to Vladimir Putin for Putin's personal use.
Oh, my gosh. That's actually a good thing. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I understand, though, this book is coming out in October, and they want to make anything to hurt Trump, right? It should do the opposite. I think it will do the opposite. But Kamala Harris, of course, was all in on the fake news.
Donald Trump secretly sent COVID test kits to Putin for his personal use. I ask everyone here and everyone who is watching, you remember what those days were like? You remember how many people did not have tests and were trying to scramble to get them? You remember how rare it was to have one? You remember people by the hundreds were dying every day? We would watch the number every day being reported of people who were dying, people who were in hospitals without their family, where the only touch that they had was of a nurse that they hadn't met because the family could not get there. And this man is giving COVID test kits to Vladimir Putin?
Man, sometimes that was, you see why they picked her, right? I mean, there are some things she can do okay. Act. And these over-the-top performances and a nugget of fake news and try to blow it wide open. This does not really. I mean, that was some serious, you share stuff like a couple of hundred COVID tests with the guy in Russia, and you know what it does? Maybe it prevents a war. A little gesture like that can prevent a war. Maybe that's one of the reasons why 62% of the American people believe that there would be no war in Ukraine. Putin would not have invaded if Trump had been president. Look at that. This is a poll taken, I think, 2 years ago. 62%. That is a big number, don't you think? Yeah, let's see. Now, Kamala Harris is all worked up about this. It was fake, right? We know fake. That was fake. You want to hear about side deals, Kamala? You want to know what a side deal is? It's not what Donald Trump did. It's what your one-time mentor did.
It's my last election, yeah. And after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah.
I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and Stanford.
Tell Putin after the election I can not worry about the people anymore and just do whatever you guys. I can do business with you. That is low. That's sinister. That's not right. And let's just review real quick. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, and Barack Obama was president, all right? We're going to leave that storm thing up. I know it's cutting off some of the text, but we want to leave that up for the time being. Let's see. Russia invaded Ukraine again in 2022 when Joe Biden was president, right? Right? Yeah. Now, what happened in the years 2017 to 2021, if you don't mind? What was going on during those years? President Trump was president. You notice a pattern? Putin did not invade. And you know what? I bet those COVID tests, if it's true, if he gave them to Putin, probably helped the situation. A couple of these things to prevent a war? What do they look like when you pack them all up? A couple of hundred of these things in a bag. Can we take a peek? It's just a bunch of stuff in a bag. Send them to Putin and stop a war. These are COVID tests, right? When they stuck that giant toothpick up your nose. A giant toothpick up your nose prevents a war. All right, can I see that one more time? I hate to, this is going to be, they want this to be the October surprise. But this is another reason to actually like Trump, because this is how diplomacy actually works, high-end diplomacy. Richard Nixon, all right? People will say he was very, very good at world affairs. There he is with Leonid Brezhnev. Now, Richard Nixon was an ardent anti-communist, right? But you had to meet with the guy, and you had to win him over. Donald Trump gave a couple of Q-tips to Putin. You know what Richard Nixon gave to Brezhnev? A Cadillac, a brand new car. That's Nixon in the light blue coat. Brezhnev is in the far left. Henry Kissinger is back there. This was a Lincoln Continental. The color is officially midnight blue, said to be Leonid's favorite. They gave him a palette to choose from. Anyway, that's kind of what we are looking for. Sophisticated, smart diplomacy. Not saying what you think the people want to hear, Kamala, all right? Not that fake outrage fear-mongering. It's not going to work. If I had to bet, if I were kidnapped right now by terrorists and they said, look, you got to tell us what you think is going to happen on the election. And if it doesn't come out that way, we're going to do something really bad to you. And they put me in a basement. I would have to say, if my life depended on it, I would bet that Trump wins in a landslide. That's how it feels, certainly an electoral landslide. And her, people are seeing right through her. Could be wrong, but I'd bet my life that I'm right.